We should be very, very careful what we plant in the minds of young innocent children.
Here in Birmingham, protests began at LGBTQ inclusive education being taught. Those protests have now spread all over the country. Now, what I want to do is get to the heart of this. What is going on? How much of a threat is it to LGBTQ rights and the crucial education that all children in this country should get? And can bridges be built to stop these tensions from escalating?
Mr. Moffat has decided upon his own self to reinterpret our religious scriptures.
Andrew Moffat designed the No Outsiders school programme that is the centre of the protest. And I want to talk to him about the myths about the programme and the reality.
Oh, I've got a fly in my tea.
Oh God, No Outsiders.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? Explain what it means.
Okay, so No Outsiders is a resource for primary schools. The aim is to prepare children for life in modern Britain. What does modern Britain look like? You've got different people, different skin, different religion, different race, different families, LGBT, disability, and gender, different age. And it's about children understanding that we're all different, but we can all get along.
So all we're talking about, basically, is teaching children that LGBT people exist.
That's exactly it.
And nothing else. So let's have an example.
This one is Blue Chameleon, and it's about a chameleon who is lonely.
Oh.
And he keeps trying to make friends by changing.
Sweet.
So he tries to change into the colour of a banana, he tries to change into the colour of a cockatoo, into a snail.
Oh, but they're not being friends with him.
He keeps changing who he is, you see, to try and be friends.
I see. He's not being himself.
Not being himself. How's it going to end, do you think?
I think maybe he learns to love himself as he is and then gets friends that way.
So the last bit, colourful. I saw a display in a school a couple of months ago where they'd done that, and it said, I had photos of a kid and he was saying, you don't have to look like your friends, I don't. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't look like my friends, but we're still friends. And this is one of the books that is causing some controversy about, being too young. So
Mummy, Mama and me.
Mummy, Mama and me. So it talks about Mummy picks me up and Mummy pours juice in my cup. Mummy gently combs my hair. Mum rocks you in her chair. So we say, does your mum do that? Does your mum do that? Does your mum do that? Who's in your family? Who's in your family? Who's in your family? Who's in this family? Let's draw our families. And that's it.
What would you say if someone said, well, actually, my religious conviction is that homosexuality is a sin?
This is what living in the UK is about, isn't it? In 2019, you've got different communities, different beliefs. How do we coexist? And school is the best way to do that, isn't it? It's the best place to do that because everyone goes to school. So schools are an embodiment of community cohesion. You've got different families, different cultures and stuff. That's the place to do this work and to start this work off.
So I'm outside Anderton Park School here in Birmingham. There's a group hanging out these leaflets here. We do not believe in homosexuality. Parents do not want their children's belief changed. We're going to talk to some of the people handing out these leaflets and try and understand, I suppose, the arguments that have been presented. What's wrong with telling children that gay people exist? Because they will encounter gay people.
According to the parents, they're saying that why would you be pushing a moral way of thinking that's different to the moral way of thinking of that child's household? If there's two men holding hands, you must respect them. That doesn't mean that you have to adhere to that way of thinking.
But that's not what they're being taught. They're not being taught they have to adhere to that. They're just saying that gay people exist and to educate them about their existence.
According to the parents, it's being over-promoted. They don't need to morally accept that being homosexual is okay.
A group of LGBT activists that we're gathering now to support the schools, support the parents through what is a really troubling time for the Muslim and the LGBT community. I'm a gay Christian myself. I faced, battles within the gay community saying that I shouldn't have a religion, and within the Christian community saying that I can't be gay. It is possible to be both, and I think that's the message for these kids here as well, because some of these kids are going to grow up to discover themselves as LGBTQ, and they're going to be set back 10, 15, 30 years maybe in their coming out because of what they've seen outside school.
So how long have you been head now at Anderton Park?
I've been there 7 years as head, 5 as deputy, so 12 altogether.
Blimey, a long time. You're a pillar of the school.
I'm a pillar. For most of the day, it's a perfectly gorgeous day at a primary school. And then my office is quite near the front where the protest is. So when it kicks in with the chanting, which follows one man on his megaphone, it's aggressive. That's how I describe it.
It's been put to us that actually these protests are being coordinated nationally. Do you have any views on that?
The lead protester at my school, I've met with him, he told me he has no children. And we've had people turn up at our school who are going, oh, I've been told to turn up, where's the protest? So literally shipping people in. So that sounds like some kind of coordinated attempt to crush what schools are about.
I've got a leaflet here.
Okay.
I've got a leaflet that was handed out. And so, for example, it says that it teaches boys it is okay to marry your best friend Abdul. It discriminates against the beliefs of parents and children. It teaches 4-year-old children they can be a boy or a girl. This programme promotes a whole school gay ethos. What do you say to all the kind of things they're saying?
Well, this school promotes a gay ethos. This school promotes equality. This school promotes an understanding of equality for all of the protected characteristics, because that's what we have to do by law. So yes, we talk about it's okay to be gay, because it is okay to be gay by law, and it's also okay to be heterosexual. It's also okay to be black or Asian or female or male or disabled. So there isn't a gay ethos, but there definitely is an ethos of equality, and that's something we're really proud of.
Some of the far right have latched on to this whole issue to say this just shows that Muslims are not compatible with the so-called British way of life.
Yeah.
People who will never talk about LGBTQ issues except when Muslims are involved. What do you say to those?
It's a few people. And even though those few people may say, I'm a Muslim and I'm speaking on behalf of Muslims, they're not. They're speaking on behalf of themselves. We should be doing the opposite of that at school. We should be tackling prejudice and eliminating discrimination, not fueling it.
Which is quite nice.
So, I mean, you're gay and a Muslim. You know, in terms of the discussion, the debate that takes place in this country, a lot of people watching will you know, maybe have never heard from a gay Muslim before.
Well, we've always been around. I mean, I've been out for, 28 years, but I came out during the height of AIDS, Section 28, which is another big issue in itself.
Children are being taught that they have an inalienable right to be gay.
And here we are now, 30 years after Section 28, almost duplicating what we had to go through.
When you heard about those protests beginning, what was your initial response?
And I just thought it was a protest that was happening on the other side of the city, and within a couple of days it will simmer down. Little did I realise that it will rock the boat quite a lot for the Muslim community and the LGBT community, because here we are now, I think 15 weeks later, and we're still discussing it, and it's not only sort of centralised in Birmingham, but it's gone across the UK. And I've become involved in it is because I feel quite sad by the fact that I had to experience all them sort of mental angst all them years ago growing up, being bullied, being picked on, mocked. I just think that children should be allowed to be who they are. Let us be who we are. Let Muslims be who they are.
Brings it back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is that it, your fear that, you know, you thought maybe what you went through, others wouldn't have to go through?
Yeah, because, you know, when you grow up in that sort of working class area, and I love my parents, you know, it was a really close-knit family. Coming through gay, obviously I had to backlash from my parents. Not my parents, my siblings, some kind of negative responses. I've not seen my siblings for a few years now. Not because, well, maybe it is because I'm gay, I'm not too sure, but I've not seen them for a few years. And I just think, you know, if as a child or as a teenager, young adults, that, you know, rather than push somebody away to make them feel scared and frightened and literally out in the cold, that you embrace that person and say, I love you for who you are. And I'm really fortunate, I'm one of the few fortunate ones that I got that from my parents, and I take that with me, because that showed to me what unconditional love is and what being a good Muslim is. It's very nuanced and there's lots of layers. But I think if we ask the children, how do they feel, that will be a good thing, because as far as I'm aware, nobody's actually asked that question.
The danger with these protests is, of course, about turning the clock back. I don't think that's happening. I think the backlash against it has produced solidarity and unity, and is bringing to the fore voices who want to take on discrimination, prejudice and bigotry, whoever is on the receiving end. But I want to hear your thoughts. How do we build bridges? How do we make sure that all children get an education that prepares them for the diverse world in which we all live? And how do we avoid issues like this being used to promote and foster divisions in an already all too divided society? So we've got lots of interviews and other videos coming up. Spread the word. As ever, subscribe. I'll see you next time.